Dubai is dying, and curiously the first to realize it haven't been the investors but the workers who sustain this empire. The most ambitious city in the world, a futuristic metropolis built on desert sand and fuel, a nation built by billions of petrodollars, is witnessing something that seemed impossible: the disappearance of its tourists. The hotel hallways rumble with the echo of emptiness. Luxury restaurants are desperately struggling to fill even a single table. And the people who keep this shiny machinery running, from concierges to guides, have finally decided to break their silence. What they are revealing is going to forever change the image you have of this artificial paradise. Dubai is empty, obscenely expensive, and facing an existential crisis that no one saw coming. The city that once symbolized limitless ambition and ultra-luxury tourism has slammed into a wall of reality. If you walk through the Dubai Mall on a Tuesday afternoon, you'll notice something unsettling, almost disturbing. Where are the people? The crowds have disappeared. The Burj Khalifa observation deck, that crown jewel that previously required reservations weeks in advance, now has immediate availability for the same day. It is a bleak image for a destination that promised to be the center of the world. Hotel workers are painting a worrying picture.
Tour guides suggest the golden destination might have hit its glass ceiling.
Luxury shop employees are painting a worrying picture.
To understand the magnitude of the disaster, let's look at the numbers because they don't lie. In 2023, Dubai welcomed more than 17 million international visitors, positioning itself at the top of world tourism. The Emirate invested a whopping $400 billion in infrastructure, hotels, and futuristic attractions over the last 2 decades. They have the tallest building, the largest shopping mall, and some of the most extravagant hotels on planet Earth. However, reaching mid-2025, the script has taken a dramatic and dark turn. Tourism figures have plateaued and in some quarters have plummeted. Let's talk about hotel occupancy. Those rates that used to hover around 80% are now struggling to stay in the low 60s in several key districts. Revenue per available room, a sacred metric in the hotel industry, is down 18% compared to the same period in 2024. Airlines have quietly reduced flight frequencies to Dubai International Airport, and several major hotel chains have postponed expansion projects that just 18 months ago were announced with great fanfare. The workers on the ground see it with crystal clarity. A concierge at a 5-star hotel on the famous Palm Jumeirah, speaking on condition of anonymity, described the current atmosphere as eerily quiet compared to 2 years ago. Housekeeping staff report something even more alarming: entire hotel floors remaining unoccupied for days, as if they were vertical ghost towns. Restaurant managers who used to demand reservations weeks in advance are now sweating buckets to fill tables even on weekend nights. And tour operators, those who used to organize 3 desert safaris a day, are now lucky if they manage to fill 1, and sometimes none. We are not talking about isolated incidents or a bad season. This is a systemic pattern emerging across all of Dubai's tourism ecosystem. And it raises a very serious question. Is this model of infinite growth sustainable? Let's talk about money, because this is where Dubai's problems really begin to crystallize and hurt. The city has positioned itself as a luxury destination, but somewhere along the way, the price became completely divorced from the real value it offers. A standard hotel room at a mid-tier property on Sheikh Zayed Road now averages $280 per night in high season. To give you an idea, that is more expensive than comparable hotels in historically costly cities like Paris, Tokyo, or New York.
A family of 4 visiting Dubai for 5 days can easily spend between $8,000 and $12,000 if we add up accommodation,
food, attractions, and transportation. For many international travelers, especially those from key markets like India, the United Kingdom, and China, this represents an insurmountable barrier to entry. The dining situation illustrates this nonsense perfectly. A simple breakfast at a hotel restaurant can cost you $45 per head. Want to have dinner? A dinner at a mid-range restaurant in Dubai Marina ranges between $80 and $120 for two people. And mind you, that's without alcohol. Even fast food has become an absurd luxury. A menu at McDonald's or KFC costs almost twice what you would pay in neighboring countries.
Food and beverage industry workers have noticed the direct impact on consumer behavior.
A waiter in the Dubai International Financial Center reported, food and beverage industry workers have noticed the direct impact on consumer behavior. That customers are increasingly price sensitive, often expressing visible shock when the bill arrives. People look at the menu, see the prices, and you can literally see them doing mental math in their heads, he explained. Many tourists are cutting costs drastically, sharing dishes, skipping appetizers and desserts, or simply choosing not to go out to dinner. And if we talk about attractions, the wound goes deeper. The Burj Khalifa observation deck charges 149 dirhams, about $40 for standard entry, and up to 378 dirhams, more than $100 for prime hours. Let's talk about concrete figures, because this is where the wallet really starts to bleed. IMG Worlds of Adventure, one of those famous indoor theme parks sold to you as the eighth wonder, charges 345 dirhams per entry, which is almost $100 for a single day of canned fun. Time equals 0.8 seconds. And if you want to go up the Dubai frame, get ready to drop 50 dirhams, about $14 for an experience that, being generous, lasts 20 minutes by the clock. Do the math with me. A family wanting to visit 4 or 5 of these attractions over a couple of days faces an extra expense of between $500 and $800. And that's just in entry fees, not counting the hotel or food. But wait, you still have to move around the city. And that's where the second blow comes. The Dubai Metro is cheap, yes, but it has a fundamental problem. It doesn't go where the tourists are. This forces you to rely on taxis. And the meter in this city runs faster than a Formula One car. A simple trip from the airport to Palm JRA will cost you about 120 dirhams, more than $30 for a single trip. If you add up the travel for a day exploring the city, a family can easily spend between $60 and $80 daily just moving from one point to another. Were you thinking of renting a car to save money? Think twice. It seems cheap until you realize the parking fees, which range between 20 and 40 dirhams an hour. And worse, the endless speed cameras. They are relentless and generate fines of between 600 and 3,000 dirhams for minor infractions you didn't even notice committing. Workers see the impact of this economic bloodletting every day on the faces of customers. Hotel staff describe guests arriving with the excitement of a luxury experience, but who end up frustrated and bitter as they watch their budget
Evaporate in a matter of hours.
Tour guides report that the number one complaint is no longer rate, but that constant feeling of being ripped off, of being charged, even for breathing. A customer service representative at a major attraction summed it up perfectly. People don't complain about the quality. They complain that the experience isn't worth by a long shot what they paid for it. Review sites are filling up with comments like not worth it or it's a tourist trap, and that is slow poison for any destination. And then there is the invisible enemy, the one you can't avoid by paying the weather. Dubai's climate is becoming a deterrent much more complex and dangerous than simply saying it's hot. From May to September, daytime temperatures regularly exceed 42 degrees C. That's 108 degrees F for my American friends. But the real killer is the humidity on the coast, which can reach 90%, creating a heat index that makes outdoor activity not just uncomfortable, but potentially deadly. The climate data doesn't lie. Dubai is experiencing periods of extreme heat much longer than a decade ago. With temperatures increasingly exceeding 45 degrees, conditions for workers and tourists are simply brutal. Guides trying to do walking tours report that tourists throw in the towel after 20 minutes. Please, I can't take this heat anymore. It's suffocating. We have to go back to the air conditioning. This is even more dramatic than the famous desert safaris. Operators describe guests arriving excited for the adventure in the dunes, but who end up visibly distressed, dizzy, and on the verge of collapse before the tour even begins. The guide confessed that medical incidents due to exhaustion and dehydration have skyrocketed in the last 3 years. We carry more water, we stop more times, but people keep dropping like flies. The industry's response has been to build more indoor attractions. But let's be honest, that strategy has a very clear limit. The giant malls are air-conditioned, yes, but at the end of the day, they are the same experience you can have in any major city in the world. Are you really going to cross half the planet to go into a shopping mall? The novelty of an indoor ski slope lasts an hour. After that, you wonder what you're doing there. Even the beach, which should be Dubai's great natural asset, becomes unusable for much of the year. Hotel beach clubs remain empty in summer in the sun.
Despite aggressive promotions, because no one in their right mind wants to fry in the sun. And the heat is not only felt, it is also seen. Construction dust exacerbated by the dry air creates a permanent haze that ruins the views in the photos. That Burj Khalifa you see on Instagram with a crystal blue sky is often a lie wrapped in a gray, dusty mist. The famous Dubai fountains are spectacular, but watching them requires standing in an oppressive heat that many find intolerable.
Regional climate studies indicate something terrifying. Gulf cities like Dubai are approaching wet bulb temperature limits, where the human body can no longer cool itself and survival without air conditioning becomes impossible. Although Dubai has not yet crossed that red line of no climate return, the trend is terrifying, and travelers who are increasingly well-informed know it perfectly well. Industry workers quietly acknowledge an uncomfortable truth.
The summer season, which was previously considered simply low season,
Is rapidly becoming the no season. We're talking about luxury hotels reporting occupancy rates below 40% during July and August, which basically means they are operating at a loss. But the problem is that Dubai is not competing in a vacuum, and its rivals have smelled blood in the water. Regional and international competition has intensified in a wild way, and there is a giant that has woken up right next door. Saudi Arabia has emerged as the most lethal threat to Dubai's tourism dominance. The kingdom has put $800 billion on the table to develop its tourism through the Vision 2030 initiative. A figure that makes your head spin just thinking about it. The Riyadh season, its annual entertainment festival, already attracts the world's biggest artists and millions of visitors who would have previously gone to Dubai. And it's not just partying, they have Alula with its UNESCO World Heritage Sites and desert landscapes that take your breath away. Offering a cultural and historical depth that Dubai with all its money simply cannot buy or manufacture. Saudi Arabia's strategy is brilliant because it attacks Dubai's weaknesses directly at the jugular. Is Dubai expensive? Saudi offers competitive prices to steal market share. Does Dubai lack authentic cultural heritage? Saudi leverages its historical sites and religious importance. Is Dubai a climatic hell? Saudi's western coast and its new Red Sea projects enjoy much more moderate temperatures. Furthermore, the kingdom is relaxing its social restrictions at breakneck speed, issuing tourist visas and allowing entertainment that was previously forbidden, thus eliminating the only advantages that made Dubai the exclusive choice in the Gulf. And as if that weren't enough, Qatar presents another monumental challenge. After the 2022 World Cup, Doha has not sat still. It has maintained its world-class infrastructure and continues to invest heavily. The country offers a very similar luxury hotel experience, but at lower prices. And its compact geography makes it much easier for tourists to move around without spending a fortune on taxis. Its museums, such as the Museum of Islamic Art, provide a cultural substance that makes Dubai's superficial attractions look ridiculous. Workers who have moved between properties in Dubai and Doha report something interesting. They find the pace of development exhilarating, but the real surprise is the strong sense of community and work-life balance. Qatar is actively stealing the most experienced staff with better salaries, leaving Dubai with a talent crisis in its hotels. But let's look beyond the Gulf, because the world is very big and Dubai has lost its novelty. Classic European cities like Barcelona, Rome, or Athens have come back strong. After the pandemic, we're offering real history, vibrant culture, and unforgettable experiences at comparable or even lower costs. And if you're looking for beach and luxury, Asia welcomes you with open arms. Destinations like Thailand, Vietnam, or Indonesia offer tropical paradises and genuine cultural immersion at a fraction of Dubai's price. Think about it. A luxury resort in Bali or Phuket offers you better weather, real natural beauty, and authenticity for 40 or 50% less than what you would pay for a standard room in the desert. Workers see how this fierce competition is changing the face of their customers. Dubai's traditional markets are going elsewhere. Indian tourists, historically the most loyal segment, are increasingly choosing Europe or their own domestic luxury resorts. Chinese tourists, who were expected to flood Dubai after the pandemic, have preferred to go to Southeast Asia or Japan.
Even the British, facing their own economic problems, prefer the Mediterranean over the expensive Gulf.
An international travel agent summed it up with a scathing phrase. 5 years ago, people were excited to go to Dubai. Now, it's just another option on the list, and it's almost never the first.
And here we come to the heart of the problem. Something that hurts more than the prices. Dubai suffers from a severe authenticity crisis.
The longer you stay, the more you realize that the city is essentially a collection of imported concepts and replicated experiences like a giant soulless theme park.
You see Venetian-style canals floating through the marina, air-conditioned souks filled with mass-produced products from China, and old districts that look like movie sets.
Everything feels manufactured because, spoiler alert, it is. We all know it's fake, but we can't say that.
Welcome, enjoy the beautiful beach.
In public, they have to keep smiling and sell the official narrative. When visitors ask about Dubai's history, they are met with a deafening void because beyond the last 50 years, there is hardly anything to tell. The city desperately lacks the ancient ruins, historical monuments, and that cultural depth that defines the world's great destinations.
The Dubai Museum is small and disappointing. And the Heritage Village, which supposedly shows traditional life, feels as artificial as a papier-mâché set. The sad reality of my work? I can talk for 10 minutes about Dubai's past, and after that, I have nothing left.
I go blank. So they are forced to talk about the future of world records and superlatives. People want more than concrete and glass. People look for stories. They look for a soul that simply doesn't exist here. The cultural experience is equally hollow, almost a parody of itself. Real Emirati culture remains inaccessible, hidden behind walls of privacy, as the local population represents less than 11% of the total.
What tourists receive in exchange is a dissified and globalized version of Arab culture designed for mass and rapid consumption. Desert safaris follow a robotic formula. Hitting the dunes in a 4x4, riding a sad camel, and dining at a generic buffet. Every company offers exactly the same thing.
The workers themselves describe this not as cultural immersion, but as cultural theater, a performance repeated night after night. The gastronomic scene is the perfect example of this identity crisis. You have thousands of restaurants from all over the world.
But finding authentic Emirati food is almost an impossible mission. Tourists want to taste the local flavor. Restaurants bed,
but end up eating Lebanese, Indian, or a generic Gulf mix that could be from anywhere. And architecture suffers from the same ill. The Burj Khalifa could be in Shanghai. The Dubai Mall could be in New York. The famous Palm Jumeirah, despite its engineering, is fundamentally a pile of artificial sand.
with expensive hotels without anything that makes it uniquely Dubai. You can walk through entire districts without finding a single trait of its own character.
It is a copy and paste city. This lack of authenticity is a serious problem because modern travelers, especially young people, are no longer just looking for luxury. They look for truth. They look to understand a place, not just photograph it. Social media has been a double-edged sword. The city looks beautiful on Instagram, but the reality of being there in the middle of an urban sprawl designed for cars and not for people is disappointing. The filters fall away, and what remains is a sense of emptiness. But behind this curtain of fake luxury, there is a much darker human reality that is starting to crack. The impeccable service for which Dubai was famous. The tourism sector employs hundreds of thousands of expats from South Asia, the Philippines, and East Africa who face very harsh conditions. Endless workdays, low wages, and a sponsorship system, the kafala, that ties their residency to their employer, leaving them without real freedom. When these workers are exhausted, stressed, and underpaid, the quality of service plummets, and the tourist notices.
Hotels have cut staff to save costs, forcing cleaners to go from 14 to 18 rooms per day without earning a cent more. We run, we make mistakes, the guests complain, and we pay the price.
The salary situation is frankly shameful. An entry-level hospitality worker earns between $300 and $500 a month. Think about it.
They earn in a month what a tourist spends on a single dinner. They live in overcrowded conditions far from work.
And many save almost nothing after sending money to their families. For them, Dubai is not a dream, it is a necessary sacrifice. Because in their countries, they have no alternative. The system prevents them from changing jobs or leaving the country without permission, creating a power dynamic that many employers exploit with threats of deportation and withheld wages. Dubai is facing its most difficult moment. A city built on an image that is running out of filters, a luxury destination sustained by workers at their limit, and a concrete desert that has forgotten its soul. Is this the beginning of the end for the Golden City? Or will it be able to reinvent itself before the sand reclaims everything? And you, after knowing all this, would you still spend your savings on traveling here, or do you think it's all one big shiny scam? Leave me your opinion in the comments because I assure you the debate is going to be heated. If you want to continue discovering the dark truth about the world's most famous destinations, hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell because what's coming in the next video is going to leave you frozen. See you in the next investigation.